Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And y'all, I came in here to talk about this 61-year-old man who married his 18-year-old goddaughter. Y'all, when I read the story, I was like, wait a minute, what? So we got R. Kelly Sr. So let me just get into the story because I know that y'all have heard about it or, read about it or whatever. Now, what made me do this video is that I had read that, first of all, the mother messed around with him. The 18-year-old's mother actually had a relationship with him. So, y'all, this is what this tells me. This is a dysfunctional family because I watched a little snippet of a video of this little girl, and that's exactly what she is, and I'm gonna get to that. Of this little girl going off talking about people were jealous because she has herself a real man and that she doesn't want to mess around with young boys who don't know what they want, blah blah blah. Well, y'all, the gag is she already has at 18 four kids. I believe that the one that's 2 years old is by him. So if she's 18 and they already have a 2 year old, he was messing around with this girl when she was 15, 16 or something, and he is 61. Now there has been a little back and forth if his age is actually 61 or 55. Regardless, y'all. I'm 56. Let's just give him that he's 55. She's still too young for him to be messing with. Now, before I get on him, I want to backtrack and talk about this young lady. First of all, she is a little girl. I know that the law says that you're legal at 18, but that's all it says. You can't drink legally. It's so much stuff that you still can't do until you are 21 that it's not even funny. The only thing that 18 is saying is that legally she's grown, legally, but not mentally. What we all know, especially those of us who are of a certain age, is that you got so much growing and learning and experiencing to do in your life when you reach 18. Hell, the average 21-year-old would tell her at 18 that she's too young for a man that's in his 50s. And the fact that at 18 she already has four children and a 2 year old that is by him, when did she start having babies? Nobody ever talked to her or took her to get birth control, y'all, because there's one thing about being a parent that my mother even had to pull my coattails about. My daughter was about 14 years old and she wanted to start dating. And because I wasn't allowed to start dating at 16, I was going to carry on that tradition that my daughter was not going to start dating until she was 16. But when I ran that idea by my mother, here's what my mother said, interestingly enough. My mother said, Rachel, today's 14-year-old is yesterday's 16-year-old. She said, if this girl has come to you and expressed a desire to start dating at 14, do not tell her no. She said, what you don't want her to do is because you said no, is to start sneaking behind your back. She said, give consent, but give consent with conditions. You will take them to this place. She can go here, but she must be back here. Add some rules to the consent. So that's exactly what I did. I trusted my mother's judgment and her, living life and seeing, how teenagers are now opposed to what they were like when I was younger, and I followed her rules. Thank God I did. But what it shows me is that there was nobody sitting down talking to this girl. And how did he switch from talking to her mama to talking to her? At some point, did the mother pull her aside and say, "Well, wait a minute, me and him was talking hot. What's going on?" Had that been my daughter and some guy that I had been talking to turned his sights on her, y'all, I would have hit the roof. It wouldn't have happened peacefully, you know. He would have been all kind of whatevers, and I would have done everything to stop that relationship. And I'm not saying that her mother didn't, but obviously something wasn't right because not only did the relationship continue, they had a baby and now they're married. And his Chester molesting ass, they said he waited until she was 18 to make this move. Evidently, this girl turned 18 1 minute, and 5 minutes later, she was announcing her engagement to this fool. And then 10 minutes later, they were married. That tells me that he had been all up in her space, in her face, and in her stuff for quite some time. He had already twisted her mind into believing that he was the best thing for her. I remember when I was younger and an older man would try to shoot his game at me. And it kind of scared me because I was young and innocent and I was thinking, hey, wait a minute. He's around the age of my mother or my uncles and stuff. Why is he trying to talk to me? And I remember older people saying to me things like, girl, don't mess with that old man. He gonna suck your youth out of you and drain you of your innocence. And I remember them saying that. This man is going, by the time this girl wakes up and realizes what this man has taken from her, it's going to be too late because he's going to be done took her youth, her innocence, the time in her life when she was the most beautiful. Her body was the most perfect. When you're young and everything is standing perky and where it should be, he gonna drain her of all of this because one day she is gonna wake up and she's gonna realize what she didn't get a chance to do. Those very boys that she's talking about now are too young and too experienced and they don't got their shit together and they don't know what they want out of life. They are doing what they're supposed to be doing, being young and finding their way. She got this old geezer, this heck, the molester, twisting her thoughts, planting these seeds in her brain, putting down those young boys that are her age, making her think that, hey, they can't take care of you, they can't treat you like I do, blah, blah, blah. Well, they're not supposed to be able to. They're probably still living at home with their moms, and she touched on that. Yeah, they living at home with their mamas. Look, that's where they should be. My son did not move out. I believe he was 21, 22. It was the birthday before he turned 21 or 22. I can't remember exactly. But even then, now looking back, I wish I would have let him stay home a little bit longer because there were still things that I needed to teach him before I let him loose in this world. Because he learned them, but he had to learn them the hard way. Had he been living at home, maybe the hard knocks wouldn't have been so hard. You know what I mean? Because we could have still shielded them from some of the world. I don't know, y'all, but I find this whole story totally disgusting because I have a daughter and I could only imagine when she was 18, somebody between the ages of 55 and 61 talking to her. I don't even see what about him that attracts her. You know, she's a cute young lady. He got a middle aged belly, a middle aged spread, everything that people our age could have. He got it going on. I think he even a little bald, y'all. Oh Lord, I just don't know. Like I said, there is gonna come a time when it's gonna hit her what she lost, the years that she gave him, and she's gonna have her regrets, even though she may not admit it to the world because she done came out all publicly talking shit. She may not admit it to the world, but that's one thing. When you have to admit to yourself the mistakes that you made and the things that you lost and the price you had to pay, that's a whole nother thing. And those of us who are of a little age, like I said, the average 21-year-old could tell this 18-year-old girl just in the 3 years that I've had since I was 18. You know, I've lived a little life. Don't be messing with this old man. But those of us who are of a certain age, we know what she headed for. We can see it so clear. But just like our parents told us, there are some people, some young folk, you cannot tell nothing. They got to go through it, get over it. They got to bump their head. And she appears to be one of them. I just wouldn't want to be her when she does wake up because it's going to hurt her. I know that she's going to look at herself probably 20 years from now and be looking in the mirror saying, I remember when I was cute and I was fresh and I was this and I was that. And I let this old man do blah, blah, blah. And she's going to have all kind of regrets, y'all. All kind of regrets. And that's what I'm sorry for with her. I'd like to know what y'all think. I just could not even believe this. I remember myself at her age. And y'all, I'm going to tell y'all a quick little story before I get out of here. I remember being young and I had worked at this job. This is during the age when my body was tight, everything was sitting where it was supposed to be. Y'all, I worked at this job where I was probably about the youngest one working there. I think I was probably between 19 and 21. I don't remember. I just remember being really young. And I remember there were these older men, what I consider older, and now I'm older than them. They were like in their early 40s. And this one particular man used to be messing with me, following me to the bus stop, telling me how much he liked me, to the point where it scared the shit out of me. Y'all, not only did I tell every male in my life, I mentioned it to my boss that he was making me uncomfortable. Now, what happened is I damn near got the man fired. Now, in today's world, I know that what I did was the right thing, but at the time, I felt bad because my boss went to the guy and told him basically, you know, this is a young girl. She's only 19 years old, where you may not mean no harm and you're just flirting with her. You got this young girl scared. She's telling everybody that you're offering her rides home, and this is all the stuff that he was doing. Now, y'all, in hindsight, now that I am older, I realized he just was digging me. I just was not interested in men that age. I was only 19 or 20, and he was 41 or 42 in his early 40s. And in hindsight, I don't think he meant me any harm. He just was digging me. And I wasn't mature enough and old enough to understand that. He had literally scared the bejesus out of me. I told my grandfather, my boss, a couple of my uncles. They was talking about coming up there fucking him up, all kind of shit. Now I know in today's world we tell young girls if something like this happens, you tell somebody. So looking back, I did the right thing, but that just goes to show you how when you're young, your mind is a little different. Now that I'm older, I would have just let him know in no uncertain terms, hey, I'm not interested. Appreciate the compliments. Thank you. And I really appreciate it. But honey, I ain't I'm not I don't want to talk to you. Back then I didn't know what to say. Oh no, leave me alone. I'm telling my grandfather. I'm telling my. I didn't know how to handle no man that age, y'all. I was a baby. I know now, and that's what's gonna happen to her. So, y'all, I'm gonna get out of here and leave down in the comments what y'all think of this story, cause I'd be curious. Now, y'all, I asked one of the guys that I grew up with what is his opinion of this? Because he is about this man's age, and I cannot wait to hear what his opinion of it is. So I'm about to get out of here. Y'all take care, be safe, and as always, thanks for listening to my video. Bye bye now.